Always hear about the rising level of government debt and how this is becoming so unsustainable, and we don't know how do we get rid of the situation. So we're going to talk about in this video. Okay, so the rising level of government debt is very dangerous right now, because we look at all the G7 countries across the Western countries. We're seeing the debt to GDP ratio has gone above 100%, and historically when we look at the sovereign debt, if it goes above 60% of the GDP, then it becomes almost impossible to get back to under 60% range. And we're seeing pretty much all the Western countries has gone past that range, and basically they're over 100% of the debt to GDP ratio right now. So when we look at the country and their debt level, the US for sure is on the top, $34 trillion, okay, which is 123% of the GDP. Staggering number. And if you look at their own projections in terms of how this is going to grow up, by 2050 they are going to hit 200% of the GDP. Staggering if they stay on this course. Okay, again, when we go through the list, China is second, okay, 83%. Japan, 255% of GDP. This is staggering, guys. I don't know how they can get rid of this situation. They cannot. Like, 255% of the GDP is their debt. They cannot pay back that debt forever. Okay, UK 104%, France 110%, Italy 143%. Wow. India 81%, Germany 65%. Not bad. I think one of the best G7 country to be in. And Canada 106%. So Canadian government has around $2.2 trillion of debt. This is just the government debt, not household debt, just government debt. Okay, and their GDP ratio is 106% debt to GDP ratio, which means the entire GDP that we are producing is going towards debt. Okay, and even then we will have some debt left that we won't be able to pay back. Okay, so when we look at the situation, we question ourselves, can this debt be ever paid back? Like, if you look at the entire global debt level right now, it's around $300 trillion. $300 trillion, and it's growing year over year. Okay, and if you look at the total money supply that we have in this world today, the amount of money that exists in this world today is around $100 trillion. So who's going to pay that extra $200 trillion that we have as a global debt? That's the question that we're trying to answer in this video, because we have to question this thing, because maybe not my generation, but my future generation has to live with this level of debt. Somebody has to pay for that debt. Okay, so how countries can get rid of this situation? There are only 4 ways to get rid of the situation. Okay, number one is austerity, which means you start cutting spending, you actually increase taxes, and we are seeing some level of variations of these things are in the play already. Like we saw capital gain inclusion rate has gone up. We saw the property taxes are going up every year. We see new taxes are being imposed, carbon tax here, carbon tax where, this tax, that tax. So all of these new taxes are being implemented, and trust me guys, this is not about climate. Okay, all of these taxes are being introduced in order to generate more revenue so that they can pay off this debt. Okay, so that was number one. Number two is you inflate away the debt, which means you print more money and use that newly printed money to pay off the debt. Okay, but by doing so, you actually debase the currency. Your currency becomes Argentina pesos, and it's not worth anything, and you just use that currency to pay off that previous debt. Okay, so that's the least preferred option that any nation would want to take. Number three is you become default. You say, guys, we don't have enough money, so we can't pay your debt, so we are defaulting ourselves, which means your credit ranking will go down into the gutters, and nobody will be able to lend you money anymore because you lost the trust. Okay, that's also not the option that anybody wants to take, at least from the G7 countries. Fourth option is growing out of it, which means you grow the GDP enough so that you can generate more revenue to pay off the debt. Okay, so if you look at the debt to GDP ratio, it's basically two things. In numerator you have debt, and in denominator you have GDP. So if you either you decrease the debt or you increase the GDP. And what we hope for is AI is going to generate a lot of growth in the economy, which is going to generate a lot of revenue, which will which we can use to pay off the debt. Okay, but of course there will be some collateral damage. A lot of people will lose job. There will be new jobs being created, and people has to be reskilled. Investment has to be, brought into the country. The environment has to be created so the companies can grow, and then generate more jobs and opportunities and business. That is the hope, that AI can help these countries to get out of this situation. Are you a non-US tax resident and looking to open a business in the US? Well, this video is very important for you, so watch it till the end. Basically, if you are a non-US tax resident, which means you don't have SSN, which is your tax identification number, which means when you open a bank account, or you open a Stripe account or PayPal account or Amazon business account or any business account, you need your SSN number in order to open any of these accounts in the US. Well, if you are a non-US tax resident, which means you don't have SSN with you, you can have another identification which is called ITIN. So ITIN is similar 9-digit number which is used for tax purposes if you are a non-US tax resident. So whenever you apply for a business account or bank account or payment processing account like PayPal or Stripe or even Amazon FBA seller, or registering a business in the US, you can use ITIN instead of SSN. This will help you to set up all of these things even though you're not a US tax resident. So if you're in Canada, Latin America, Europe, UK, Australia, or anywhere in the world, you can apply for ITIN, and you can use ITIN to register a business, open up the business accounts, open up the payment processing account in the US, and pretty much do all the tax related stuff using ITIN even though you don't have SSN. So how do you get that? Well, there are some companies available on the internet that will help you to get you the ITIN, but they may charge between $400 to $600 per application. We have a company called ITIN, and they are one of the quickest in terms of submitting the application. So they will help you out in terms of collecting the documentation, help you out in terms of answering your questions, and help you out in terms of submitting the application. Now, the typical application process times takes between 4 to 14 weeks, but the ITIN people only take 48 hours to collect the information, help you out in the journey, submit your application, and from that point onwards, it's basically IRS. IRS can take between 2 to 12 weeks depending upon their volume of the applications, but throughout the process, they will handhold you in terms of opening up the accounts, help you to open up the FBA account or Stripe account or PayPal account, or guide you in terms of the entire process. They're pretty quick to respond. They have people speaking English and Spanish and Arabic, and they can give you very competitive rates as well. Plus, if you use my referral link, which will give you extra $50 discount when you purchase their services. So if you are looking to open a business in the US, start your journey today, apply for ITIN. Even though if you're not looking to open a business now, you should have ITIN just in case in the future, if you want to open a business, you're ready from tax standpoint. So check the link in the description below, and let's get back to the video. And if you look at the example of internet in the last 20 years, we have seen how our lives have completely changed in the last 20 years. The way we interact with each other, the way we conduct business, the way we shop, from online retail stores, the way we do banking, okay? Everything is changed at the back of the internet growth. Okay, the way we communicate, the virtual conference and these content creation and content consumption, it's all done at the back of the internet revolution. Okay, 20 years ago, this was not possible, but now we're seeing so many things, so many jobs being created, so many new businesses being created, which has produced a lot of jobs and opportunities and revenue. We can also expect the similar thing happen at the back of AI revolution. Now, this needs a lot of planning, a lot of commitment, a lot of investment, a lot of reskilling of the employees and resources. That can help if we do all of these things together. Then we can have more productivity and more jobs and more revenue, which can help us to pay off that debt. So these are the 4 options. Whether countries can pick one of the options or they can do all of them together, who knows? They will try everything possible in their realm, but that is the only way we can get rid of the situation. Otherwise, this debt is unsustainable and nobody will be able to pay off the debt if we don't do any of these actions. Anyway, you let me know what you think about that. Put your comments down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. Check the links below in the description. There's some free stuff available for you to take advantage of. And if you have any question, Put your comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. If you are an investor in the US, in Canada, or in Europe, and you are considering investing into Dubai real estate market, this video is for you, because we have a platform called Stake, which allows you to invest into the residential real estate market and start earning rental income right away without going through a lengthy documentation process or coming up with a heavy down payment. Stake is built upon the concept of crowdfunding. So it is democratizing the entire investment strategy and allows you to own a single unit of the entire investment portfolio. So you don't have to own the entire property, right? You can be part of the pool that can actually own a piece of property, a piece of real estate. So that allows you to start with as low as 2,000 dirhams, and you can slowly ramp up. So as you start investing into it, you can not only own a bit of real estate, but you also get a portion of the rental income on monthly basis. So it's a passive investment strategy, diversifying your portfolio from traditional North American or European markets into Dubai, which is hustling and bustling and growing very fast, and allows you to build your wealth over time. So don't delay. There is a link down there in the description. If you click on this, it will give you free 200 dirhams in your account right away to start with, and you can thank me later.